We've just spent 9 nights sailing on Virgin Voyages Valiant Lady in a Rockstar suite, and we want to give you an honest answer to the question we had before we booked. Is it actually worth it? Not the marketing version, not the perk list, the real answer to what we used, what we didn't, what genuinely made a difference, and how it stacks up against the alternatives. By the end of this video, you'll know whether Rockstar is right for you, and we'll share a comparison that might surprise you. First, a bit of context if you're new to Virgin Voyages. On most cruise lines, the top cabin category is called something like a suite or a penthouse. On Virgin, they call it Rockstar. It sits above the sea terrace, which is the standard balcony cabin, and it comes with a suite of extras that are supposed to make the whole experience feel different. Not just bigger rooms, but a different level of service and access. There are a few different Rockstar categories. We were in a brilliant suite, which is one of the larger options. Prices vary a lot depending on the sailing, the route, and how far in advance you book. That's the baseline. Now let's talk about what you actually get. Walk into a brilliant suite and the first thing you notice is that it doesn't feel like a cruise ship cabin. There's a proper living area, sofa, coffee table, somewhere to actually sit that isn't the bed. The bed is in the same room, but the sofa area gives you that separation, and for us, that matters. Being able to sit up properly away from the bed makes a real difference on a longer sailing. The balcony has a hammock on it, and the bathroom is genuinely impressive. Large walk-in shower, good water pressure, proper space to get ready without bumping into each other. There is also a window from the bathroom into the cabin, which is a design choice we weren't completely sold on, but it's worth knowing about before you arrive. Storage is excellent. Wardrobe, drawers, and under-bed space. More than enough for 2 people to properly unpack, which always makes the sailing feel more settled. The cabin comes stocked with spirits and alcohol on arrival, and we'll come back to how we made use of that shortly. It genuinely felt like a hotel room rather than a ship cabin. That's a harder thing to achieve than it sounds. Every Rockstar booking comes with a dedicated Rockstar agent, Virgin's version of a butler, and very similar in practice to what you'd get on MSC Yacht Club. We met Az on arrival. She came to the cabin to introduce herself, walked us through everything, and asked what spirits and alcohol we'd like stocked at the bar. Her name was Karina, and she was brilliant. Throughout the sailing, she messaged every day with recommendations, what was on around the ship, excursions if we were in port, things worth knowing about. When we needed last-minute dining reservations or wanted to change plans, she sorted it. That daily contact is worth calling out specifically. It doesn't feel intrusive, it feels like having someone genuinely looking out for you. If you're the type who likes to have plans in place, the Rockstar agent is one of the most useful parts of the whole package. This is worth being clear about, because it varies depending on which Rockstar category you book. At the standard Rockstar level, there's no bar tab. What you get is a dedicated happy hour from 5 PM to 6 PM, where you can order from a selected drinks menu. We went a few times and genuinely enjoyed it, particularly the frozen cocktails. On several days, it moved from Richard's Rooftop down to the SIP lounge because the weather wasn't cooperating, which takes away some of the atmosphere. The other drink perk is the stocked bar in the cabin on arrival, spirits and alcohol included. You can order mixers from room service, so vodka and coke, gin and tonic, that kind of thing, without paying bar prices or leaving the cabin. One thing to be aware of, once it's gone, the bar isn't replenished. If drinks are a big part of your holiday, it's worth knowing that the Mega Rockstar level goes further, bottomless in-room bar and a daily bar tab included. For the brilliant suite, what you're working with is the happy hour and whatever you make your way through in the cabin. This is the main exclusive perk for Rockstar guests, and the one most worth knowing about before you sail. Richard's Rooftop is a private area at the top of the ship, not accessible to other guests, and not something you'll stumble across if you didn't know it was there. There's an outdoor deck with seating and sun lounges, and some enclosed pod-style beds that we really liked. Think bird cage lounges, comfortable and sheltered. It's a really nice space. A couple of honest caveats. We were limited by the weather. It wasn't a particularly sunny sailing, and the wind made the outdoor areas less appealing on several days. So we didn't get as much use out of it as we'd hoped. And the music was a bit of a miss for us. Richard's Rooftop plays fairly generic lounge music, which felt at odds with the lively DJ sets drifting up from the pool deck below. On a hot day, you could find yourself wishing you were down there instead. On the days we did use it, seating was never an issue. There was always space, and it never felt crowded. On this particular sailing, priority boarding wasn't just a nice to have. It was the difference between a smooth start and a very long wait. Our sailing departed from Brooklyn Cruise Port, which had been changed at the last minute from Manhattan. It was clear the port wasn't set up to handle the volume of passengers boarding that day. The queues were long, the process felt disorganised, and if we hadn't been in Rockstar, we'd have been standing in that for a considerable amount of time. Because we were Rockstar, we skipped straight through. There was a small lounge with drinks set up for suite guests. We were rushed through it fairly quickly as boarding was already underway, but we were on the ship while most passengers were still waiting outside. On a sailing where everything runs smoothly, priority boarding is a pleasant bonus. On a day like ours, it was genuinely valuable. Here's the honest truth about the Rockstar experience on Virgin Voyages. The baseline product on this ship is already good. The food is included, the restaurants are excellent, and the general atmosphere on board is relaxed and well run. Rockstar isn't rescuing you from a mediocre cruise, it's adding a layer on top of something that already works. But it's also not the same as being in a separate world. Unlike MSC Yacht Club, where suite guests have their own private section of the ship, Rockstar doesn't segment you off. You're on the same ship as everyone else. You're using the same restaurants, bars, and public spaces. Richard's Rooftop is the only area that's genuinely exclusive. The rest of the experience, the dining, the entertainment, the daytime spaces, is the same as any other guest on board. That's not a problem if you know it going in. The dining on Virgin Voyages is genuinely one of the highlights of the whole cruise, and you're not missing out by sharing it with everyone else. But if what you're hoping for is that feeling of being in a ship within a ship, Rockstar doesn't deliver that. So, is it worth it? The cabin is absolutely excellent. Spacious, well designed, and a real step up from a standard balcony. The Rockstar agent service is one of the best things about the booking. The stock bar and room service mixers give you flexibility without constant bar spend. And on a sailing where embarkation goes wrong, priority boarding is worth its weight. Richard's Rooftop is a nice exclusive space, though how much you use it will depend heavily on the weather and whether the lounge music vibes work for you. Now the comparison that we think is worth knowing about. We paid just under £5,000 for our Rockstar Brilliant Suite. We found a comparable sailing in MSC Yacht Club. MSC's luxury tier would have cost around £3,758. That's over £1,200 less, and it includes a full premium drinks package and a private dining room. The bigger difference is how it feels on board. MSC Yacht Club is a true ship within a ship. Private restaurant, private lounge and bar, an outdoor deck with its own pool, hot tubs and bar, and priority disembarkation for excursions. You have a butler, very similar to the Rockstar agent, and the Yacht Club area is physically separate from the rest of the ship. You choose when to go out into the main ship rather than living alongside everyone else by default. If we had to choose purely on VIP feel and exclusivity, we'd go Yacht Club. It's more complete, it's more private, and it costs less. That said, Virgin Voyages is a genuinely different product. The adults-only atmosphere, the inclusive dining, the vibe on board, none of that is replicated on MSC. If you love the Virgin experience and want the best cabin on the ship, Rockstar delivers. Just go in knowing what it is. An excellent suite with a handful of genuine perks, not a private enclave. If you want to see how MSC's Yacht Club compares in more detail, we've got a full video on that. It's called 10 Things We Loved in MSC Yacht Club, and there's a link in the description. If you've got any questions about Rockstar or you're trying to decide whether to upgrade, drop them in the comments. We're happy to help. And if this video was useful, a like and a subscribe goes a long way. We'll see you in the next one.